you are live, doing a live stream, in the live stream, because it's a live stream, talking about the stuffs and the things, and the stuffs and the things, and the atheisms and the theisms and the gods and the not gods and the whatever the else is stuff and the things and the stuff of the things on the live stream. Yeah, we're doing it in the live stream. No, that just doesn't sound right. Maybe that's a different live stream. That's a different kind of life. But it nonetheless is a live stream. And we're doing a live stream. In the live stream, because it's a live stream. Yeah. Doing stuff. It's gonna be great. In the live stream. Naturally. Because I'm here, and aren't I the greatest? As I struggle with cable management. Wait, what am I? That's right. Professional yapper, as some call me. So, I can be a professional at something. I can sit here and ramble for forever. Whether or not anything coherent comes out of that rambling is, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Probably not. But we are here. Nonetheless, my wrists have not been wanting it lately. Somebody left a comment earlier. Yes, fake atheists can never prove we are wrong. We being Christians, I guess. They just run from the Bible like scared cowards and can't scientifically prove any claims they make. Some bold claims. And I don't even know. Their name is Repent Hell Preacher. So, that's who we're dealing with. So, yes, fake atheists. I assume that's because people think that because there are some people who just don't think atheists exist. Like, everyone believes in a God, atheists just pretend not to because they hate him or whatever, because that's how not believing in things works. So I think that's what the fake atheist is. They run away from the Bible like scared cowards. I'm not trying to be mean, but I feel like Christians tend to do that more so than atheists. I listen to an audiobook of the Bible on an almost daily basis. And I've read it a few times, actually read it a few times. So, I don't run from the Bible. I'm trying to memorize the damn thing, even though I doubt that'll be possible. Can't scientifically prove any claims they make. I'm sure we can prove scientific claims that we make. I'm not sure what kind of claims they're talking about. Unless they're trying to talk about the claim that God doesn't exist, which is not an atheist claim. But, there really isn't an atheist claim. Atheists, just like Christians, make claims. That's the thing that happens. But atheism is just the lack of belief in a God. So, there's not really an atheist worldview or atheist claims or anything like that. So yeah, there's just a lot going on there, and a lot of just ignorance. It kind of seems like. I mean, their name is Repent Hell Preacher. And they have a picture of a cartoon Bible. Not to call them out. I mean, they're in the comments section. I read. If I'm not talking to chat, I'm talking to the comments section. So you can look at them yourself. But there's a lot there. Hello. Do you play Dead by Daylight? I don't. Hi from that. Thomas, I'm not sure what you're saying. And I hope it's nothing inappropriate. Get Dead by Daylight. I mean, it seems like a good game. It seems like a good game to play with friends. And I don't have a lot of friends to game with. I mean, I have some friends to game with. I also just don't make time to game very often. And if I do, I'm usually just chilling by myself playing Minecraft. That's how I do. I do not believe in Jesus. At least not as the Christians do. I don't really have an issue with the idea that a dude made some claims, gained a following, got executed. I don't really have any issues with that, but not really any supernatural things. Hello, my love. Having a stacked solo Minecraft world is the chillest thing ever. Is that, you know? It's fun. I've started building a castle in my Minecraft world because I need a project that doesn't matter. I do a lot to try to learn religions and Christianity and like just the field of like atheist debates. I work a 40-hour-a-week job. I'm a husband and a father, a homeowner, so I have stuff at home to take care of. So I have like a lot of stuff to worry about on a daily basis that matters and that actually stresses me out. So I need something like building a castle in Minecraft. I need a project to work on that doesn't matter. That I like. It's like I don't need to stress about. I don't feel the need to touch my tongue. But there's proof. What kind of proof? Build Babylon, that'd be sick. That'd be pretty sick. I'm not really a master builder when it comes to Minecraft. But it'd be sick. It would be sick. People build that stuff in Minecraft, and it is sick. People build some insane stuff in Minecraft. Not me so much. Somebody, a frequent commenter on my Instagram commented, because I made a video about talking to live chat members recently, and they're like, you have live stream chats? This person's been around long enough to see that I post about it every now and then. I'm not talking about it every day, but like I do try to share stuff with the other platforms to be like, hey, come over here and check out my other platforms, or if you want to engage. I literally have made posts in the past. I haven't made one in a minute. Maybe I should. You want to engage? Actually talk with me on a live stream. Come to the live stream, and like I'll invite people to the live stream, and then like nobody else comes. So apparently this guy didn't even know. He didn't even know. How old are you? I'm 27. You want to be home? I know. Get a buzz cut? Nah. Tempting, but no. I've seen a Lego Babylon and it blew my socks off. Lego's right up there with Minecraft. I feel like it's kind of a similar concept, and people have built some crazy. It's so cool, some of the stuff that people build. When you just have like tools in your imagination. It's like a hair or a spider web or something that's been tickling my leg. It's hopefully not an actual spider. I don't want you to go, hell, you're my favorite YouTubers. I don't feel like I should be. Nothing special here. Nothing special. Try to be, I'm working on it. I'm trying to like learn and like do stuff and like get my stuff out there or whatnot, but nothing special. Still, not. I put in my bio on all of my different platforms. I am just a human with some thoughts trying to make the world a better place. That's about it. It doesn't get any deeper than that. That about sums up me. 27, you're almost a grandpa, Blondie. I feel like it sometimes. I have a very like manual labor job. It's not like intense. Like I don't work in construction or anything, but I'm on my feet, running around, heavy lifting, doing all that stuff all day. And I'll sit in my car and drive home, and everything will have time to like settle and ferment. And I'll get out of my car when I get home, and I'll sound like an old man. Just my back is just all stiffed up and whatnot. And just it's I'm not gonna be able to walk by the time I'm 50. I need to take a little better care of myself. My job, I run a dairy department at a local supermarket. It's pretty exciting. I think it's better a real spider than an invisible one. I would agree. Thanks for stopping by, Dedicated. Good seeing you. How much do you make a year? 35,000-ish? Ish? You just hit 20 an hour. Hello. With muscles? Not really. Not really. Somebody, if you ever want to be convinced, DM me. I don't engage with people in the comment sections, and I especially don't engage with people in like direct messages and whatnot, especially not random people. Like if other creators hit me up, that's one thing, but like I don't like, no, I'm not gonna hit you up. I'm not gonna DM you. And I very highly doubt. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just like never giving him a chance, and like maybe he's got like the one convincing argument for a god that's just gonna blow everyone's socks off, and I'm avoiding it. But like, I doubt it. I'm 17 and work in a bakery in a supermarket. Not bad. Does your wife work a job? She does. She's a lot of things up at the front end. At the same supermarket I work at, she'll be checkout, self-checkout, customer service, running the front end, just wherever they put her for the day. She's kind of a boss and does it all. It's kind of amazing. Hello. What's your address? Nah. Hello. I'm doing all right. If you use the words logic and standards of evidence, then you won't find God. You have to find God within yourself. That's not a very compelling case for God. Logic and evidence is kind of important, and it's kind of the standards that we use to determine everything else in the world. And it's the most reliable of standards. And if I have to abandon reliable standards in order to find this God that we have no evidence for, I think that says a lot about the God. I think that says a lot. Everything else, not God. Yeah, I don't think he should have his own special category. I would say that all proof of eternal life may be fabricated. Yeah? I'd probably be inclined to agree. Then you're not ready to be in his presence. I guess I'm not. I doubt that I'll ever have to worry about that being a thing, but yeah, I guess I'm not ready. I'm not ready for him. What can you do? What can you do? Stop playing that. What are you, a priest? His presence. What are you, a priest? Never say never, buddy. I was you. Used to be just like you. Okay. I used to be a devout Christian. So I probably used to be a lot like you. Are you done with your tasks for the night? Maybe you can go home early. That'd be cool. Snickers is just chirping at me. It's the most adorable thing. I was a believer before I was atheist too. Okay. Well, maybe there's hope for me yet. Maybe I'll be a believer, then an atheist, and then go back to being a believer. I think Drew realizes the point of life, which is a good thing. He believes what he wants without anyone influencing his beliefs. Well, I don't necessarily believe what I want. I believe what I have reason to believe. If I believed what I want, then I would believe that there was an afterlife or some supernatural something, because I would really like that. That'd be kind of cool. I love the kitty chirps. You ever just, like, anyone with cats, your cat just ever, like, chirp at you? Like, it's not even a meow, it's just like a... It's a little too early for you to leave. Do you believe in evolution? I do. Now I'm back to believing. Well, maybe I'll get there someday. Hi, sweet girl. Hi, sweetie. I just have a kitten. Let me show you without demolishing my setup. There she is. There she is. All the wires and stuff. Poor cable management. It doesn't help that I just kind of like throw this setup up on a tabletop 10 minutes before most live streams. I don't have a set system where like I can have all the cables there and that's just where they stay. Then how come things aren't still evolving? They are. She can technically leave the job whenever she wants. She can. It wouldn't be great for us, financially speaking, but yeah, that is an option. She does have the option to take that action. It's just that our actions have consequences. Yes. I stopped petting her and I like have my hand on my mouse because I'm doing stuff, and she just grabs my arm and starts pulling on it and purring, and then licks my arm. I stopped giving you pets. I stopped giving you pets. I'm not allowed to stop giving you pets. I'm not left-handed. I don't know if I can navigate my computer. I probably can. I'm sure I can. I can figure it out. I can figure it out for you. She's adorable. I got good kitties. I haven't seen a gorilla turn into a human in a while. I don't think a gorilla's ever turned into a human. I believe in you if that helps. Well, I appreciate it. Need an extra mod? No. I don't usually like making just people in chat mods. I gotta be very careful in particular about who I mod. I gotta know them, I gotta trust them, it's the whole thing. Don't use your back claws. You can bite me, but you're not allowed to use your back claws. Those hurt. I'm not gonna give you loves if you're scratching me. I did make a video recently about there are theists who come into chat and will like try to argue with me for about 5 minutes, give terrible arguments, and then when I'm not convinced, they'll just say, "Well, clearly, you lied. You're not open to the conversation. You're just closed-minded," and then like they just make a whole thing and then they storm out. Is like, I don't know, stick around, talk to me more. Try more than 5 minutes of terrible arguments. I can sit and talk forever with anyone about whatever. But somebody commented, I think it's because most haven't actually had real conversations with curiosity. It's just trying to win an argument. There are definitely thoughtful and intelligent theists out there, but they are a minority. I think the same can be said for atheists too. I think I'd have to agree with all of that. There's a lot of people want to be right. And this might not be a blanket statement, but a lot of people want to be right. And there's usually two main ways that people go about doing that. There's the things that I already believe are right, and I'm going to argue, despite any kind of evidence to the contrary, I'm right and everybody else is wrong, no matter what. And I'm going to cherry pick evidence that backs my stances. I'm going to ignore evidence that goes against it, because I just want to be right. I want my stances already held to be right. And then there are other people, like myself, who want to be right, but want to do that by finding out what right is, and believing in what is right, and changing beliefs if need be to fit what is right and real and true. And I think that's the better way to do it. But there are a lot of people who are just kind of in their own worlds, and they just want their answers to be right and think that their answers are right, and they're not really as open to open conversations and honest conversations about it. And it's frustrating, especially like, don't come in my live chat if you just want to win and you don't care what I have to say, because there have been people who just don't care what I have to say, won't listen to half the things that I say, and just I don't know. I have one thing that really upsets me is when people show that they're straight up not listening. Is when I make an argument, or when that's what I'm looking for. There's an argument, and I make a counter argument, and then somebody else comes along in the comment section or whatever, and basically makes the same argument that I just responded to, as if I didn't respond to it, without engaging with or even acknowledging my argument. So it's like, so you straight up didn't listen to me. I think that already makes me not want to talk to you. You straight up didn't listen to me. Like, listen to what I have to say and engage with that. At least acknowledge that you thought about what I said, instead of just regurgitating the argument that I'm responding to. It's just, if you're going to engage with someone, engage with someone. Listen to them. Have an actual conversation. Have a back and forth. Don't try to win. Don't try to, I don't know. Just, people like that just piss me off very, very quickly. I'm in the Discord now, and to be honest, I've been on your live a couple months, but I'm very busy doing live. I get that, because live somehow exists. But try to pop in when I can. If that's the case, then they are very rude and inconsiderate. I'll say, yeah. I'd say so many people are stuck up and don't care about the other half by not acknowledging it. I agree. I do agree. It's just how it goes. And it's really nice listening to the opposing arguments and opposing views. As much as I hated it, and as much as I wanted my stance just to be correct, and as much as I wanted to cherry pick just to solidify my stance, listening to what the opposition says and actually thinking about it is one of the main ways I became an atheist. That was one of the biggest helps for me becoming an atheist and leaving Christianity, was actually listening to what people had to say. And I'm very, very happy that I did that. And I'm also very happy that, I'm honestly very happy that I was a Christian, was a theist to begin with, because I understand where a lot of people are coming from. And I've even been in a position where, I just wanted my stance to be right, no matter what. And I've been in situations where people were speaking out against Christianity, and I took it as a personal attack, and I got upset and whatnot. Like I've made a lot of the errors and mistakes that I now get upset with. But I saw that they were errors, and I changed it. So I'm like partially a hypocrite, maybe. Or maybe not, because like I said, I saw those errors and I changed it. And I try to point out those errors as many times as I can. And I try to, in different ways in my content, show people, hey, here's a better way of doing this. Here's a better way of having this conversation. There's a good amount of my content that I make where I'm kind of trying to help theists and help Christians argue better. I'm trying to help them. I make videos like, hey, when you say this, it doesn't make anyone want to listen to you. That's not just me taking a jab at Christianity or commenting on Christianity. That's me telling you, hey, don't use that argument. Don't use that method of arguing, because people aren't going to want to listen to you. It's just, I would love to see better from both sides, honestly. But I mostly engage, with the Christian side. And being on the atheist side and being a random nobody like myself, I don't feel like I have as much right to comment on what atheists should do. I do here and there. Which is like I'm yelling up the totem pole. But when I see people who are worse at arguing than I am, and have more terrible arguments, than I do, or that I've had in the past, or have the same amount of arguments and same kinds of arguments that I had way back in the past that I've learned how to be better with, I feel the need to speak up and say something. I feel like this might be mean to say. I feel like theists, Christians, people of other religions and whatnot really just don't have anything in terms of like really good arguments or evidence or anything like that. And it seems like there's an imbalance. So I would love to see the other side do better, because I'm not worried. I'm not afraid of a bunch of Christians becoming really, really good at arguing, because the truth is going to be the truth, and it has nothing to fear from scrutiny or investigation. So I don't care if theists or Christians get better at arguing. If there is no evidence for a God, then there is no evidence for a God. And that's going to keep being the truth until we can maybe find some way to test and measure and observe the divine or the supernatural. But I would like to see more. I would like to see more. And there are atheists I'd like to see more from, because there are some atheist content creators who I watch. I don't watch regular, but I'll scroll past their content, and it's just them being just arrogant, the most arrogant, condescending, ignorant assholes, and it's just like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's just like, don't you don't speak for us. At least give a chance to people like you and let people like you say what they want. Yeah. Now, don't call yourself a hypocrite. A hypocrite does things they say they won't. Fair. I always try to be better. Always try to work on myself. Always try to think about, the videos I make and the things I say in the live streams, and did I do well? I ask my wife at the end of almost every single live stream, did I do okay? Did I say anything coherent? And I try to learn how I can say things better and try to evaluate myself and try to better myself every single day. I really, really do. And it's gotten me here, for better or for worse. We can leave that up to interpretation to decide if that's a good thing or not. But I think it's I think I've done what I can, and I'm going to keep doing what I can, and hopefully I can continue to do more in the future. Don't worry on bettering yourself. Just be your natural, unchanged self. If people don't respect that, then they shouldn't be in your life. Fair. And that's shit that I've had to learn. I've had a lot of mental health struggles, and people who haven't been great to me in my life, who have ingrained a message of not good enough. And that has been like something that I've just ridden my entire life, which is like, I'm not good enough. And I think now, and I'm working on just not worrying about that as much, and telling people who I try to be good enough for and they don't try to be anything positive for me, to fuck off and just like not care about what they say. Working on it, you know? What can you do? Pray to God. He's coming back. When? Hi, Drew. Hi. I feel you've been struggling with mental health myself since my grandparents both died recently. That'll do it. That sucks. I'm sorry for your loss. I know how hard that can be. Life, you know? Life. Do I like green beans? I like green beans. Green beans are pretty good. Hi, kitten. Don't kick me. Don't kick me. Do I like green beans? They're alright. Do I like them up my nose? Haven't tried that yet. They'd probably fit. They'd absolutely fit. Like width-wise. I don't know about depth-wise, but like width-wise they'd fit. I don't think I'd want to try it deep-wise. I think I'd end up hitting my brain or something and dying. Kitty. I'm so happy. Speak up. I'm getting all the cuddles. Do 10 push-ups for the chat? No. Don't really feel like it. It's my Friday. I've been getting up before the sun does for 5 days straight, working a tough manual labor job. It's my weekend now. It's not push-up time. It's sit on the couch. It's do chores and crap around the house time, let's be honest. But it's also sit around the house time. Do you think 10 is too early? That's not up for me to decide. I don't think it's too early. Do I believe that no God exists? I don't believe that any God exists. I don't hold the belief in any God. I don't claim that gods don't exist, or especially claim to know whether there is or is not a God. I'm just not convinced. Just don't believe. Kind of sounds like Taylor should just leave her job. I don't know. He's making $30K and he's planning on taking you to California. You're chilling, Taylor. $30K is not a lot. You do not afford much on $30K a year. Like 5 years ago, making $20 an hour, you would be pretty set. Not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. And it sucks. It sucks a lot. Everything's just getting so damn expensive. And like I get worried that like the price of the cost of living is rising faster than pay is. I'm just like barely keeping our heads above water. It's pretty great. Pretty great. Pretty frustrating. Pretty awful. just not having it. Hi. Taylor is giving Taylor Swift. I can see it. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Just kind of sucks. You see my student loan debts? Yeah, I got those too. Paid about $15,000 to get an associate's degree in English literature from a community college that I don't use. Probably never will. And I think I still have like probably 13,000 left. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Hello, Doom. Subcontinent throughout history has performed various activities that has shaped people's understanding of free will in relation to God's infinite nature, and God's will stems from their cultural scriptures. Yeah, hello. Yeah, people be doing stuff. I'm not sure I understand the message, I'm going to be honest. People trying to figure stuff out. Trying to figure out what's going on. That's all it is. What's going on, Snickers? What are the secrets to the universe? Is there a God? Do you believe in a God? Do you believe you are a God? You act like it sometimes. Over here demanding cuddles, looking cute. I'm busting out of here. Oh, they're actually letting you go? Can I get a smile? Those come and go. How are we supposed to trust a library book that says someone existed in a certain era and was pinned to a cross? Not really reasons to believe it. Rainbow Space Kitty is among us in disguise. Are you a Rainbow Space Kitty kitten? She's the kitty in disguise. Ah! Don't punch that. Would that happen to be Smokey? No, this one is Snickers. Want all the attention. Big kitten. Smokey was in the thumbnail. She popped up like right when I took it. Do you believe in morality? I believe in the concept of morality, yeah. Creating my own religion where freedom is a given. Sounds good. Oh, I'm letting myself leave. I'm technically the highest authority right now. Damn. It's like that. All right. Yeah, she was in the thumbnail. The gray one is Smokey. Taylor is a big boss. Do you love your cat, Drew? Sometimes. Why do you think morality exists? I think morality and ethics evolved with humanity as we learned how to deal with one another and work together for the betterment of a society and therefore the individuals within a society, including ourselves. I think it was just about survival, mostly, at least at the start. And yeah, That's about where it came from. Just figuring out how to deal with each other. What do you think is more likely, simulation theory or a higher power, aka God? I if I really want to be technical and nerdy about it, technically I have no way of verifying that either of those are even possibilities to begin with, so I can't really make a claim about probability or anything like that. But I don't know. If I had to take away all like the science and all like the, get all that shit out of my head. Simulation theory, maybe. Because you're asking if a species is intelligent enough to make a simulation, or if there's some divine magical something. And technology at least exists. We're nowhere near getting into a simulation, but technology at least exists. We at least got something. But we have no reason for believing in any of them. They're both kind of nothing potatoes. Morality is a human construct. It's a given that it exists if people utilize it. The real existential question is whether to adopt it or not. Are we in a simulation? Who knows? Explain how individuals that have smaller amygdalas rise above the rest, as seen through sociopaths and narcissists. Not sure I have a professionally, I had the word and then it ran away. Informed. I'm not sure I have a professionally informed opinion on that. I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe sociopaths and narcissists are just good at playing with people and don't have nearly as much empathy, so don't really care about who they hurt in the process. Who knows? You loving your cat is like God loving you. It's unconditional. My love for my cats is not unconditional. Not as long as they still shit on the floor. We're gonna put that out there right now. I guess we should use morality. I don't really use it myself, but I should use it more often. It's an alright thing to use. It's it's like probably should, It's kind of important. Individuals with low morality are more manipulative and without anyone to hold them accountable for anti-competitive and antisocial behavior. They will become a parasite. It's probably accurate. Then why do you have a cat? That is a fantastic question, Elliot. That is $1 million question right there. It's all Taylor's fault. With the powers invested in me, I pronounce my religion as non-religious and liberated from all religious matters. Heck yeah. I have 3 cats, which doesn't help my argument. 2 of them I have because my wife had them. My wife Taylor had them when we moved out, so it's kind of stuck with them. And then the 3rd one, shortly after we moved into this house, she's like, "Hey, I want another cat. Can we get another cat?" And I said, "Sure." So now we have another cat. I'm also allergic to them. That's cool. That's pretty cool. That's alright. It's whatever. But yeah, I don't have a good reason for you, Elliot. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It just kind of happened. To be honest, I hate my cat. He's annoying and hates my guts. I love cats, but damn, how do you survive? We have air purifiers. We give them food that's supposed to help them not produce the allergy stuff. I have allergy medications. It was great. I was a stay-at-home dad for 2 years. And that's when we really figured out the extent of my allergies and when it really became bad. Because before that, I had work in school and more of a social life. So I was out of the house a little bit more often. But when I was a stay-at-home dad for 2 years, like the first year, for a year straight, I had allergies. Like I was just like sick with allergies and popping decongestions for a year until I started taking allergy medication. That's where I'm at. That's what my life is. So yeah, I just kind of like have these cats now, and it's it's great. I love the cats. Don't get me wrong. It's just like yeah, it's a lot. Cats are very perspective of respect. If you respect them, they will do the same. If you become a doormat, though, they will still behave badly. Morality is useful in this regard. It allows you to find what is fair whilst respecting your own autonomy. I agree. Well, good for you, Drew. I don't know if it is good for me. It's definitely not good for my health, but like, they're pretty cute. They're my kitties. I do love them. How do I believe the universe started then? The Big Bang seems to be the best model that we currently have for the origin of the universe, or at least the origin of the current state of the universe. I'm sorry I'm sitting here. I look like an asshole whenever I do this. I'm just tired. Like I'm not trying to like sit here like the anime villain, just like, yes, I'm the best ever. I'm just tired. I want to hold my head up. How did the Big Bang start? Well, I guess you didn't die yet, so you have handled the allergy well. I have not died yet. I have not died yet. Beauty is worth the price of every hurt. Atlas. Is it? Is it? Is it? Is beauty that important? I also believe in the Big Bang, by the way. Okay. Cool. Good. It's the best we got. Check back in 100 years and might have something else. Hopefully something better. Believe the Big Bang started through an intelligent mind? Why do you believe that? I don't believe in fake beauty and rather inner beauty. Inner beauty I think is much more important. I am much more drawn to inner beauty. I think that's really of the utmost importance. Damn, that's... How many subscribers have I gotten in this live? That's like 5 or so. It's not bad. Thank you. If y'all are still here, thank you. Shout out. Thank you for the support. I just checked the number and it was bigger. I think the quote refers to beauty in a broader context, as in everything that is beautiful, like love, joy, and connection, etc. All those things are subcategorized under beauty. Okay, that makes sense. Is worth the price of hurt. I can agree with that a little bit more. Because something cannot come from nothing. It has to come from something outside of itself. I don't believe that anything came from nothing. Nothing is nothing. As soon as you put any kind of attributes or anything to it, it stops being nothing. So I don't think nothing... I don't really even know if it exists. It's a concept, but I don't even know if nothing is like a state of being or anything. And I definitely don't think nothing has any kind of creative attributes, because then it would stop being nothing. So yeah. And it had to come from something outside of itself. I agree, it had to have an origin. I just don't know what that origin is. And we have no reason to believe that any kind of intelligent creator or anything even exists. We don't have any reason to believe that such a being exists, that such a being can create a universe, or that such a being did create the universe. We got nothing. How come you never disprove Muslims? I mentioned Islam here and there, but Christianity is the religion that I was raised in. So it's the one that I have the most experience in, the most knowledge in, the most personal grievances in. It's the religion causing the most issues in the country that I live in, and it's the religion that most religious people in the country that I believe in are going to be believing in and engaging with. So it's my focus. I do mention other religions every now and then and how I don't find them compelling. I don't know nearly as much about other religions as I do Christianity. Like, I at least feel like I can sit here and have a conversation about Christianity and kind of stand my ground, kind of hold my ground pretty well. Really don't know if I'd be able to do that with Islam. I've read the Quran once and listened to an audiobook once, and I've listened to a couple of debates. That's it. Like, that's really the extent of my knowledge of Islam. So it's not, and it's not information that I use very often. So a lot of that just gets kind of thrown away. My brain, if it doesn't use information on a regular basis, it just kind of gets rid of it. It's pretty great. I also am careful in this country speaking out against Islam because there is a lot of wrongful discrimination against anyone who even really looks like they're from the Middle East in this country. It doesn't even have to be Muslims. Anyone who even looks like, let's be honest, anyone who even looks like they're from the Middle East suffers persecution and Islamophobia, even if, again, they're not Muslims. And as much as I'm sure there are a lot of Christians, I know there are a lot of Christians in this country who would love if I could team up with them and we could take down these innocent people together. But I'm not for that. I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to add to that. So, yeah, that's why. So yeah, cat love is worth the price of cat allergies. I don't know about that one. Adam and Eve came from something, not nothing, like people suggest. Human life is created through birth. Adam and Eve came from something, not nothing, like people suggest. Human life is created through birth. I mean, I don't believe Adam and Eve existed, but, yeah, humans came from something. So the Big Bang created space and time, therefore, whatever created the Big Bang must be outside space and time. This fits the description of an intelligent mind. I don't follow. I'm sorry, I don't. I have no idea. So I don't know how we can make such claims. I mean, who knows? It could have been another universe that did a thing and then birthed another universe or reformed itself into another, variation of the whatever. I don't know. And nobody knows. So saying it has to be this, or it has to have done this, or it could only come from an intelligent mind, we really just don't have anything to back that up. I find that a good way to tackle almost all religious belief systems is to identify the core pillar of the belief that is very easily demonstrated false and stick to addressing that. Sometimes. But I am for taking down Christians. Yeah. I am. I think Christianity is very harmful. There's Smokey. I think Christianity is harmful nonsense. As long as they cannot explain or justify that, their belief doesn't come into fruition. The universe didn't exist before the Big Bang. How much do you know about cosmology? No offense. Probably not a whole lot. And I don't know what existed before the Big Bang. I just kind of spit something out. We don't know. We don't know. And we don't get to say, I don't know, therefore it must be a God. We don't get to say, I don't know, we don't know how this happened, therefore it had to have happened this way, and it had to have been this way, and I know exactly how it happened. That doesn't make any sense to me. Listen to some John Lennox or something. I'm sure I have before. The name sounds familiar. I'm going to take a screenshot of you. No, I'm not. I'm going to take a photo of you because I don't use the phone that I'm on. I'm sorry. Cat was on the cord. Hello. Welcome back. I know that name. I've looked up that name before. think the B theory of time puts a huge dent in the entirety of theism. It essentially allows for finite universe to be eternal in some sense, rather than something with a beginning and an end. Yeah. Essentially, the passage of time itself is an illusion in B theory. You should read Know Why You Believe by Paul E. Eliot. I might just do that. I'll always welcome book recommendations. Or if you... Because I do want to know more. I don't think I know everything. At all. About anything. Like, not even just, like, not know everything about this concept. Just don't know a lot in general. So, whatever you want to redirect me to, I'll have a look at it. Time is clearly real, though. Yeah, it is. I highly recommend looking into the B theory of time, by the way. I'll have to. And time couldn't exist before the universe. Just because we don't know how... I really need to get this through. Just because we don't know how something works does not mean it has to have been a god. What is my purpose in life? Hi, I'm home. Hi. Did you disarm the system?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because I forgot to. My purpose in life is to live, I don't know, I'm just overall intrigued by the overall experience of living. I want to learn more, I want to experience more, I want to see more, I want to basically just keep experiencing this ride. I also have friends and family that I gotta be here to take care of. I got a wife and daughter that I gotta be here, and 3 cats, unfortunately, that I have to be here to take care of. So, those are some of the purposes in my life. So something outside time and space in the universe must have caused the universe. Does that make sense? I'm not necessarily saying it is God yet, just wait. Okay. Nothing about before the universe. Nothing about anything happening before time and space happened. Nothing about anything happening before the concept of before happened, because time hadn't started yet. Makes sense. Nothing about it makes sense. I'm on your side there. Heaven can help you see more life if it exists, and if I can get in. I doubt both of those very strongly.
I escaped.
You did? You just like walk out?
Yep.
You just tell the closer, just be like, good luck?
Yep.
What did they say?
They said bye.
Okay.
I wasn't needed. I was not needed.
I trust you. I trust your call.
I was like, I'm leaving. Like, there was nothing for me to do. I was just standing there. I was literally just standing there.
Thank you
Standing
for the kisses.
there with you in my ear, just chit-chatting. I'm like, I'm gonna leave.
Fair is fair.
Like, I had nothing else going on, so...
She's just been wanting pets and cuddles this whole time.
Want the attention? You want all the attention?
Like, she literally, I was like, had my mouse at one point, and she just reaches up and grabs my arm and starts purring and, like, pulling it towards her. She just wants loves. Wait, sorry, Chad. You can if you believe in Jesus. How am I supposed to believe in Jesus? Especially anything divine about Jesus, if I have no reason to believe in anything divine. I barely have any reason. I don't even know if I'd say I have solid reason to believe in Jesus. I always just say I have no problem with the idea of someone existing, making some claims, gaining a following, and getting executed. I don't have a problem with that. But like, beyond that, I got nothing for belief in Jesus.
I love how you just said cats on you.
As a rough explanation, B theory suggests that both the future and the past exist, every moment exists all at once, and is in effect predetermined. Time is essentially another unit of direction. So something outside our dimension must have created the universe. The universe came from something. I can maybe give you that. The universe is just one large unchanging block. God is one large unchanging block of love. Sure. A sensation of moving through time isn't real. We're also unchanging static object. What about Jesus' resurrection? Absolutely not. They do not believe in that at all. All versions of ourselves we pass through time all versions of ourselves as we pass through time are happening simultaneously. It just so happens that the structure of everything entails that past states and for future states, even if the past states don't actually turn into future states. It's interesting. It's an interesting idea. Can I be praying for you, or is that offensive? I don't care. I get a lot of people praying for me. It doesn't bother me. I don't. You're just thinking positive thoughts about me, as far as I can tell. That has been confirmed by non-Christian sources. The resurrection hasn't been confirmed by anything. We don't have any evidence for it. One guy was offended when I said that, and some people will be. Everyone's different. And especially when you bring past religious trauma into it, depending on how much trauma and what kind of trauma someone has, it can be a sensitive topic. So I hope that you're not offended if someone is uncomfortable or offended at you praying for them. It's a little bit more complicated on their end. I'm in the general chat to have the conversation about God. In the general chat to have the conversation about God. Oh, I need you. I can squeeze you in real quick. I'm near the end of my live stream, but I can squeeze you in. Anything, I need you to put it in the live stream chat, text chat, your preferred name, preferred pronouns, and maybe if you can, a little bit more specific about, like, what about God? Like, I mean, we can just go in about God. I don't really care, but, like, if anything specific, more specific might help.
We're up there.
It's a very difficult concept to grasp, so I said look into it a bit more. It sounds like a difficult concept.
If I got pizza, would you eat it for after your life?
Probably not.
Okay.
But you can still get some. Sorry about that, Mom had to ask me some questions. I'm back now. It happens. Might draw and post through diagram to try and explain the concept in the Discord. Maybe. A real true speller spell us some truths. What about the start of evolution? The start of evolution. What about the start of evolution? Evolution just kind of started once life was here and once reproduction started happening. Okay, Chris, I said the live stream text chat, but I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I won't be nitpicky. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. Forgive me. God's existence. Okay. So, chat. Where does the life matter come from? Life matter seems to have come from non-living matter somehow, and we don't fully understand that process. But just because we don't understand it doesn't mean it has to have been a god. I am going to go ahead and ignore Discord for a minute and talk to a person. Well, for longer than a minute. Give me just a second, Chris. I have to be incompetent for a minute. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I should really just have this open. Give me just a second, Chris. I'm sorry. And boop. And I need to join too. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you today? Tonight, whatever.
Good. Yeah, hanging in there. Been a long day. I was searching around on YouTube, saw your channel, and you seemed like just like you seem like a cordial guy just on the surface, like you were willing to have a conversation about the existence of God. So I thought I would join.
I try to be cordial. I do. It usually works.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good. Um, so yeah, you don't think there's any evidence for God? That was your position?
No, not really. I mean, correct, yes.
Yeah. Well, as you know, someone who believes in God, the Christian God, uh, we would say that all things stand in causal relation to God. Like when you talk about creation, you say, "Well, what's evidence for God?" We would say creation. Like we're not talking about Loch Ness monster. We're not talking about Bigfoot or say like UFOs, but we're talking about what is ultimate. Like what is the ultimate reason why anything exists, including the ability to rationalize love, life, personality, and everything in existence. What is the ultimate causation? And we would say it'd have to have some type of attribute of eternality. I don't know what your position as far as an atheist. Do you believe that there was some eternal ultimate, but from which everything came, or everything came from nothing? And we can get into that, but I would say that there would have to be an eternal ultimate foundation from which everything came, which is an attribute of God, eternality, and also preconditions of life, love, rationality, personhood, things like that. So like when you say, well, there's no evidence for God, well, we would say, creation itself, all temporal facts stand in as causal evidence for God.
Well, I'd want to make clear a very important point. Just because we don't know how stuff works or how stuff got here or where it all came from doesn't mean it has to have been a god. So we might not have all the scientific explanations for everything. We have a lot of scientific explanations, including how things like morality and how we got concepts like logic and whatnot. We have understandings of stuff like that and how we evolved to be, how the planet was formed, how the universe began, all of that stuff. But just because we don't have the full knowledge and understanding of how everything works and how everything came from doesn't mean it has to have been a god. We have no reason to believe that a god even exists to begin with, so we don't even know if it can be a candidate explanation.
Yeah, when you say we know, that, just because we don't know, that's a universal claim in and of itself that would speak to the nature of reality, that all of humanity doesn't know, in fact, that there's a God. And that is not a claim you could instantiate from your position as a finite, particular, and a limited time index. But also when you appeal to science, all science conclusions are provisional, which means they can completely change with new data. About what
They can be improved with new data. They can be improved, and they have often been. But I don't think things like evolution are going to be going away anytime soon.
Well, it just depends how you determine the nature of evolution and the data behind it too. I mean, there's even, that's a discussion too. But just science itself, to be able to do science, the uniformity of nature is going to have to be a thing for to be able to make predications in science, which science can't actually demonstrate the uniformity of nature. It's something that is an assumption, a presupposition that they operate from to make scientific conclusions.
There are some presuppositions that we allow, like generally being able to trust our senses, because without these, we have no way of telling anything. So yeah, I agree there are some things that I feel like are pretty reliable that we do just kind of say, all right, let's use this as a baseline. But we could also be wrong about any of that. And it could be, that we could have better scientific explanations for things in the past and maybe explanations for a God or something, but we don't have that right now. So that's kind of where we're at.
When you say we, you're like dragging me into your worldview, which I don't agree with that worldview. Because I think what you keep kind of referring to is when you say we don't know, I don't know, and you say basically your position is you don't know the ultimate reality. Would that be right? You don't know what ultimate reality is as far as the ultimate initial reason why anything at all exists.
I don't think anyone can know anything for absolute certainty.
Yeah, that's unintelligibility. And that would be the problem with, that's why I would say that your worldview just on its surface provides no ability to provide intelligibility for dependent facts, because they would be dependent upon an ultimate context to interpret those facts to be true to what the nature of reality actually is. Like if I was saying to you, oh, I just saw a person get shot and they threw the guy in a trunk and they drove down the road. You depending on your reaction, you might say you got to call the cops and do something about that, and this and that. Might ask me some probing questions, and then I finally say, well, I was watching an episode of Magnum PI. And when I give you a context, it changes the nature of reality of what you thought the facts were originally. And that's because context provides interpretation of facts. So in admitting that you don't accept God, which would be ultimate, he would be the ultimate interpreter of dependent facts. It sounds like you have some familiar with the Bible, it sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Jesus in the scripture, he says, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. That they'll have the enlightenment to what the true nature of reality is and the facts in it.
I don't really have reason to believe in the reliability of the Bible, or any real evidence to back up that the things that the Bible says Jesus said and did were actually said by some guy named Jesus. So the Bible doesn't really help us. And you say
let me make my point. Let me just, if I can finish my point, because I was almost done. But so if you're familiar with the scripture, and then it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and for him, without him, nothing was made that was made. So we're talking about ultimate causation of why anything and all exists. And then we have ultimate context revealed, which would be Christ, that says he's the light of the world, and he who follows him will not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. In other words, they'll have the enlightenment to the true nature of reality. And you're admitting that in your worldview, you don't know what the true nature of reality is. In other words, you don't have enlightenment to dependent facts and how to interpret them. They're completely unintelligible in your worldview. And so when you speak forth, we might have some semantic apprehension agreement in terms of facts and how they can be understood, but not in terms of ultimate context. Like, we're going to totally disagree. And the difference is you're not going to have any place to interpret or place facts to be intelligible. It's like you're already admitting, you're like, I don't know the nature of reality.
So I don't have really any reason to care about what scripture says. So, because I get what you're saying, is that in my worldview, we really can't know anything for certain. So we rely on basic baselines like we can trust our senses and laws of logic and whatnot to try to make something out of the universe and try to have some foundation for investigation. And I can understand that that could be wrong, and we might not have a baseline for that. But you're telling me that you have this claim of this thing from this book full of claims that we can't verify, and that gives you some objective truth and some verification and some baseline and stuff. And I'm just trying to figure out, because you're saying that you have this baseline through God and Christ and whatnot. But how do I know that? Because from my perspective, you're in the same boat as I am. You don't have any way of knowing anything for certain either.
But that's why I think you'll use the phrase we, in your language and stuff. I understand, why you're using it. It's just that and you'll say, well, you have no reason to believe anything in the book to be verified in terms of the Bible. But like, you'll either operate from the book of God's mind, or you'll operate from the book of your mind. And then my question is, what verifies the book of your mind?
Evidence.
What makes your mind? What makes the book of your mind intelligible? That can provide me truth to what the nature of reality is. And when we get into your mind, you're telling me, well, I don't know. You know, like when it comes to ultimate reality, it's like, I don't know. Maybe you can even convince me that God exists. So it's like, you know, you're admitting to that unintelligible position. And what I'm saying is, from the book of God's mind, we have an ultimate foundation, like a revelatory context that reveals itself. And without it, you could not know.
See,
I mean, you would you believe? Would you accept the fact that unless God actually revealed Himself, that no one could not know?
I just feel like I need to say this. I feel like I'm giving the intellectually honest stance that we just don't ultimately know. And you just keep coming back to saying, I do know and we can know because of this person, this being that we have no evidence for from this book that we have no good reason to think is credible. And I understand it gives you that intelligibility if it's true. And it seems like you've settled on an answer. You've settled on an answer, and that's great. But I'm more concerned with having the correct answer than having an answer, and I have no reason to believe that your answer is the correct answer. So right now I have no answer, and I'm intellectually honest about that. And you have no way to verify your answer.
You say you're intellectually honest, but you have no intelligibility there to really demonstrate any intellectual. It's just
and I'm being honest about that.
Hold on. It's just a worldview that's completely vacuous of any ultimate context to provide intelligibility to dependent facts to be interpreted to what the respective reality actually is. And that's the problem. Like, and that's why I say God makes Himself a necessity for truth. That when I asked you, would you accept that without God revealing Himself, you could not know? Like, you could not know God unless He reveals Himself. Like, He has to span the gap to reveal Himself.
I'm sure He would. I guess you could say I would have to have something significant from God.
Yeah, all dependent facts stand as causal evidence for God.
Does
because
it though?
If you don't accept that proposition, they can't be interpreted to be intelligible in terms of if they're not accepted to be as, you know, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through Him and for Him.
Why should I believe that, though?
Without Him, nothing was made that was made. And that is revealed as Christ, as ultimate context to interpret facts. If you don't accept that, then you're just operating from your own finite, limited perspective. And I'm guessing, are you in your like late 20s or mid 20s?
Late 20s.
Yeah, like you haven't been on the planet that long compared to the span of existence, and you're trying to determine the nature of reality independent from God's mind.
How do I know there is a God? I feel like we're both being broken records at this point because we've both explained our point multiple times. And what I'm hearing from you is, with this baseline of God, then we have intelligibility and whatnot. If that baseline is there, if God is there, and I can agree that if there is a God, He would be the baseline for everything and the creator of the universe and all of that stuff. If, it's the if. You're still not giving me evidence. You're saying if, then we'd have a better baseline. I'm saying we don't have that baseline, so it's just people trying to figure things out the best they can with what they have, and we get it wrong a lot, and we gather more information to get it more right, but it's always going to be at least a little bit wrong, and we're just trying to figure stuff out. And that's just kind of where it is. We're just beings doing what we can with what we got. And I can agree that if there is a God, that would make things a lot easier to figure that stuff out because the God would just have those answers. But that's still an if. I need evidence for a God. I understand that things would make more sense if there was. You know, that would give us that good baseline and everything. But I still need that evidence for a God.
Yeah, that's why I guess, you know, if I could get you to understand that without without context, there's no intelligibility, that God makes himself not only a necessity for the preconditions of rationality, but for facts to be interpreted in light of an ultimate context that have to be revelatory, so when we speak out of our mouth, those facts are intelligible to what reality is.
Facts
Like I
and
would
reason
say,
and logic and stuff like that come
I would
from
say,
the universe working how the universe works and us understanding it to the best of our ability. And we don't fully understand why the universe works that way, but that doesn't mean that it has to have been something else.
you keep saying we, and I just,
It
I
is a
don't
we.
understand how every facet of the universe works, but I know who sustains and upholds everything currently, and also provides intelligibility for dependent facts to be interpreted, and my ability to rationalize and have life. Like when you say there's no evidence for God, I'm sure you're familiar with like Romans 1, where it says, the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth and unrighteousness.
I understand that the book says stuff, but I don't know why I should listen to the book.
Let me just finish the passage so I can kind of build off the argument. So he says that the invisible attributes of God are clearly seen, being understood through the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So it says that the invisible attributes of God are clearly seen, and it sounds like a contradiction, but it's speaking about metaphysical things like life, love, rationality, and personhood. That there has to be preconditions for those things. Like if I asked you, do you believe that a rock can beget a rabbit?
No.
Right. So when we talk about rationality, life, and personhood, and love, we say that there's ultimate preconditions, that God has those preconditions, and being created in his image, he's the eternal ultimate by which then, we have these things. There's no antithesis or contradiction in our worldview in terms of, you from your worldview would almost have to say, even though you said, no, a rock doesn't beget a rabbit, but you have to believe somewhere along the way non-consciousness produced consciousness, and non-life produced life, and non-rationality produced rationality, and no love produced love. Like, that came from the opposite sources as opposed to preconditions existing.
We don't understand all the processes of how we got here, but we do understand a good bit of it. And we understand that life seems to have come from non-life. It was nowhere near a rock birthing a rabbit. We have no reason to believe. Maybe it is true, just like maybe there's a God, who knows, but we have no reason to believe that. But we do have a history of evolution and how organisms evolved over time. We have an explanation of how morality evolved through with human society as we learned how to deal with one another and work together for the betterment of the society and the people in it. We understand things like logic and reason because the universe does just work a certain way. It works a certain way. And we are an emergent property of that universe, it would seem, just trying to figure out how it works. But it does seem to work in certain ways. There does seem to be set ways that it works. And just because we don't understand how that works, or how it got there, or how it seems so set, doesn't mean it has to have been something supernatural. You keep going back to, if it's a God, then I can have this baseline, this intelligibility, and this book says this, but I really, really do think it seems more likely that we're just things that came from the universe trying to figure out how the universe works to the best of our ability. And you're still not giving me any reason to believe in a God.
Well, because if you don't, you have no reason to believe in that facts can be interpreted as being intelligible, because they can completely be changed.
We can see how the universe works. I have a mouse. I have a mouse in my hand. I have a mouse.
Let me finish. Depending upon any future discoveries, about the ultimate nature of reality, then facts then to what you thought it would be. Like you're saying, well, we're searching for God in some sense. Well, what if you find God? Well, then the facts of reality completely change because now they're all God-created facts.
Correct.
And so you're admitting, but currently you're admitting to not knowing, and that's unintelligibility. And you're also trying to skirt around God's revelation to try to understand reality. Like when I was saying if God has revealed himself in Revelation in terms of a natural revelation, also special revelation, but then one says, well, I'm still going to find God, but I'm not going to find him through the means that he has provided, which is the scriptures and also the natural revelation revealed that indicates that there is God and the preconditions of life and rationality and things lie in him and his existence and his being. If one doesn't accept that, then they're arguing from the counter opposite, and the issue is then you're trying to skate around that revelation to get to God. And I'm just, in my mind, I'm thinking, would one think that, would you think that you could find God independent from his revelation? And I'm like, no way, whether it be natural or special.
Then God should show up and make that revelation a thing.
He did. That's why I believe in the person of Jesus.
We have no reason to believe in anything divine about the person of Jesus.
Well,
and as far as me, and as far as us seeing reality, hold on. You keep talking and putting me off to the side. I need to be able to talk here and there, because you're just kind of repeating the same things, and I'm not really sure if it's getting us anywhere.
Well, Drew, if you just not say we when you're talking about you, when you talk about we don't know the nature, we don't know that, well, just as you, because that's a universal claim you cannot instantiate.
Then demonstrate that you have the understanding of the nature. Demonstrate that God exists. Demonstrate that you have that full understanding through this God that exists.
Yeah,
otherwise, you're just making a claim too.
The evidence, the attributes of God are clearly seen, being understood through it. All you have to do is look in the mirror.
No.
All you have to do is look in the mirror and ask yourself, why does love, rationality, and personhood and life exist? And how could it exist in virtue of my worldview that doesn't have these preconditions? You already admitted that a rock cannot beget a rabbit. Now all of a sudden you're like, well, yeah, maybe it could happen, given enough time.
I'm not saying it could, because I'm not making claims of probability or possibility, but maybe.
Magic will happen.
I'm open to whatever if it can be demonstrated.
Well, it's not demonstrated by science. Like there's no science that demonstrates it. It's just the idea that if you give it enough time, the magic will happen. That is just an imagination.
So here's how.
Like science is testable and repeatable, right? And observable.
So here's how we figure stuff out. If I pick up this mouse, I don't know if you're watching the live stream. It's fine if you're not. But I have a computer mouse in my hand. If I let go of it, it will fall every single time. Because the universe works in a specific way, and we sit and observe the universe. It might be that my eyes are completely playing tricks on me, and this mouse doesn't actually exist or something weird. I don't know. But we have to stick with basic axioms and presuppositions to even try to figure anything out, with the understanding that we could all be in a simulation for all we know. Who really knows? But we observe reality, and it does the same thing, and it works a certain way, and we work on our understanding of how that works. And that's how we understand the reality. That's how we understand logic and reason and all of that stuff. So it gives us something. I agree that nothing can be known for certain. And it could, maybe we can't trust our senses. Maybe we can't trust the reason or anything like that. But it's what we got. We're just beings that came from the universe, working with what we got, trying to figure things out to the best of our ability.
Well, that's what I would say, though, that when your position ends up that we could be like a brain in a vat kind of thing, it just ends up, and basically, like, if I was talking with, and I don't mean any disrespect to you, because you seem like a nice guy, like, I don't have any problem with you, and thanks for letting me come in here, I appreciate it. It's late. I'm tired, too. I know you said you were shut down.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, and I'd actually love to have further conversations, even about maybe your view on the scriptures and the nature of salvation, because you said, it sounded like you had some mental abuse and things that I know that goes on in Christian circles and things all the time because of false gospels. It's really kind of the big thing. It's just a false gospel going around.
That's not why I lost my faith.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm really not sure, just was asking, I don't know what your background. Sometimes people, they have such condemnation and things like that they just can't bear the thought of God anymore. I don't really know your story, so I wasn't like
it's a whole story. If you're interested, I think live stream number 9 I think number 9 is my deconstruction story. If you're interested, it's like an hour long of me rambling about it. If you care enough, it won't hurt my feelings if you don't care enough to sit through an hour of me rambling about my backstory. But if you want that answer, that's where to find it.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. No, it would, if give me context to understand too where you're come from, what you understand, everything. So, but yeah, just as far as the brain and the vat thing, it's kind of like it just ends up in this kind of absurd, in all due respect, an absurd position where almost it's like something I would expect if I went down to like the local mental ward. And I know you're not crazy, but if I was saying, hey, what do you think about ultimate reality? Well, I think we could be a vein in the van, and we could just be like a simulation in a computer game, and it's kind of like too if I said to you, do you believe that aliens could show up tomorrow, a super intelligence, and maybe show us that all of the past human history has in fact been a hologram concocted by high-powered gamma rays through very complicated science and technology that they've developed through eons of time in the past. In one way you couldn't object to that, which means what you're saying about reality itself. It's just you're saying that I don't know, but that itself is unintelligibility.
It's honesty.
There's nothing. Well, when you say it's honesty, it may be honesty. It may seem honesty for you, but then again, like if I'm operating from the worldview that I know to be true, and without it, you can't know anything is true, which is the Christian worldview. Within that worldview, it says the invisible attributes of God are clearly seen, being understood to the things that are made, so that people are without excuse. So it's saying that you're not being honest.
Well, I understand that the Bible makes claims and puts fail safes in. Like
right.
It's so obvious, everyone was without excuse, and if you should lean on God's understanding and not your own, and don't trust the ways of the world, and don't trust anyone who speaks differently from us, and don't let yourself be tempted or whatever. And I understand that there's fail safes to help keep people in the flock, but that doesn't. The fact that a religion has built itself in a way that works and is effective to get people to follow it and stay in the flock doesn't prove its reliability. I also want to mention about the brain and the vat real quick. I have as much reason to believe that we are all in a simulation or a brain in the vat or anything like that as I do a God. I have just as much evidence, and as far as I can tell, there's just as much evidence in the world in total for a brain in the vat and all that, a simulation, as there is for a God.
Yeah, but what you're arguing for is the contrary. It's a impersonal ultimate that's unidentified, and that you can't establish. And because you can't establish it, because dependent facts are dependent upon, ultimate reality to interpret that, everything that you say that comes forth out of your mouth, while I might be able to semantically apprehend it, it will have no intelligibility to the respect of what the nature of reality actually is. Like we can have surface level, kind of shallow conversations about, our favorite food or what we like to watch on TV or something like that. But even those facts, when you break them down and you follow the chain dependency to an ultimate context, you're not going to have one. It's just going to go off into a dark void that's not going to speak to what the nature of reality is. They're going to all into I don't know, which is intelligibility for everything.
Why can't we not know? Like why is it
if
impossible for us to not understand the nature of reality? Like why is that such a big issue? Like why you're saying you're seeming to suggest that we can't possibly be in a position where we don't understand the nature of reality. Why can't we be in a position like that? Like what's wrong with me saying that we can't understand the position of reality?
Well, if you're gonna, assert, what the nature of reality is not, like you're gonna say it's not God, there's no evidence, then you're gonna have.
I'm not asserting that it's not God. I'm just saying I have no reason to believe that it is. That's different.
Okay, you're saying there's like an agnostic position.
Agnostic atheism, specifically, or just atheism in general, is usually more of an agnostic atheist standpoint.
Well, an atheist would be a positive assertion that there is no God, and an agnostic is going to. Well, that's historical atheism if you go and find the ultimate definition. I mean, it's just the atheists they want to kind of, not argue from their position when their feet are pressed to the fire. That's the
maybe
only
you can
issue.
give me links. Maybe you can give me links that tell me the historical nature of atheism, where I can look into that. Because from what I understand and what atheism is understood as today, and what most atheists will put forth, and what most atheists use it as is, I just don't have reason. I'm just not convinced. It's not a claim. It's just a lack of being convinced.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, it's just there's definitions behind these words, and I can get it, but every time I get on Discord, my whole computer freezes up and goes really slow. So
that doesn't help.
It's going to be painstaking to try to research that right this second, in the middle of a conversation.
And I mean, I wouldn't look at it right this second. I'm not going to scroll through articles right this second, but like for the future, you can like put it in, and I can scroll through it later.
Sure. Yeah, it's just that your position itself provides no intelligibility for dependent facts to be interpreted. Like, you're not going to interpret everything as being all things were made through him and for him, without him nothing was made that was made. In other words, you're not going to interpret, when I see a tree, I see it as a Jesus Christ created fact, or when I see grass, I see it as a God created fact, or an orange, or whatever it may be. And you're not going to see that way. You're going to interpret those facts completely different. The issue is you don't have a basis to interpret facts because you're admitting to unintelligibility. You're admitting that there not being any ultimate revelatory context in your worldview that can actually demonstrate what the nature of reality actually is for any dependent fact.
I'm still trying to figure out where the evidence for your God is, because you're just saying, like, if there's no God, then we can't fully know anything, and I'm agreeing with you.
Where's the evidence? I know, but I could say, where's the evidence for your impersonal absolute? Like all things.
What impersonal absolute?
Like all things. When you say, "Where's the evidence for God?" Well, creation. All things stand in direct relation to God.
Creation isn't evidence for God. Just because you don't understand how something came to be doesn't mean it has to have been a God.
Well, like I said, we're not like when you say, "Well, there's no evidence." Like we're not like searching for Bigfoot out in the woods looking for feces off on the side of the trail. Like we're saying, well, what would be evidence for God? We're saying everything stands in causal evidence for God. Not like, well,
I reject that. I just don't agree with that.
Let me finish because it's getting late, and I just want you to see how foolish this is.
I don't think it's foolish, Chris. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Please. So in the future, Christians make bad arguments. They need to reformulate their arguments. Hopefully, you'll see that. When you say we need evidence for God, where's any evidence? And when you're standing on God's planet, using your rationality, looking around, reasoning, looking at everything you see and saying, I don't see any evidence. Creation, like you're dismissing what is known as to be evidence in the Christian worldview, which is creation itself.
What is claimed to be evidence in the Christian worldview.
I'm almost done with this.
I know, Chris. It's just Chris. I know, and I'm sorry, but you just keep going on these long tangents, repeating the same thing, and it's just, dude. You've said that a couple of times.
You can lecture on and on when I'm done with this. But then when I ask you, what is the nature of reality? What is ultimate? You go, I don't know.
Because we don't.
If you don't know, don't tell me what it's not, and then tell me that there's no evidence for this, what you don't know is ultimate. Okay?
I'm not telling you that it is for certain not a God. I'm telling you to prove that it is.
Dude, it's circular flawed reason, and no disrespect to you as a human being. It's just, you're not understanding the problem and the issue there.
You're saying we don't know. Just because you don't understand how things work, therefore it has to have been a God, essentially. And if we can't understand anything if there's no God, even though you can't even demonstrate that there is a God, I'm still trying to get to the evidence of a God. And I'm not completely, and I'm not saying that it can't be a God. I'm not telling you what it can't be. I'm not telling you what it can't be. I'm not telling you what it can't be. I'm saying that you said you would let me preach, and you're just trying to interrupt me again. I'm not saying that it can't be a God. I'm just saying you haven't demonstrated that it is, or that it even can be. I'm open to whatever, but you got to demonstrate that there's an existence of a God. And I've explained this.
You're not open.
I am open. I am open, but what's the evidence? Creation is not evidence of a God.
When I say everything, like you don't even accept that, well, if the Christian worldview is true, and you just are presupposing it, just for the sake of argument, then you have to presuppose that all things stand in causal relation to God, that He
If
is
you
the
presuppose
creator.
it.
For anything at all to exist, it has to be because of God. Then you say, I don't know what is ultimate. So then you say, well, it's not God that created everything. I don't see any evidence, but you don't know what's ultimate, and yet you try to negate God, but yet you don't know what stands in, as far as causal evidence for the existence of God, which is creation.
Give evidence
There's a
for a
huge problem.
God. Give evidence for a
There's-
God. Give actual evidence. Don't just say everything exists and we don't know how it could exist, therefore it has to have been a God, because what else could it be? That's not evidence. That's a God of the gaps fallacy. That's not how things work.
But in the Christian worldview, does everything stand in, as causal evidence for God?
Yes, but is the Christian worldview
Right.
true, and how do you know?
Right. Well, are you taking the atheist position now or the agnostic? The atheist position is the positive assertion of the non-existence
It's
of God.
not. It's not. That's not the atheist position, and I'm sorry. Most atheists today will, and if you want to get technical, here's the definitions that I go by. This might make it a little bit simpler. Gnosticism and agnosticism are claims of knowledge. Theism and atheism are claims of belief. So I am an agnostic atheist. I don't hold the belief in a God, but I don't claim to know for certain that there is a God. Many theists, many Christians are what we would call Gnostic theists. They believe in the existence of a God and claim to know for a fact that that God exists. Would you consider yourself in that category of knowing that a God exists?
Yeah.
How
Absolutely.
do you know that?
Because without God's existence and revelation, you can't know anything.
Who says we can know anything? I've told you multiple times, we're just beings trying to figure out how the world works. And we might be completely wrong. Nothing can be known for certain. And I'm agreeing with that. And you're still interrupting. I've been giving you a lot of opportunities to go on really long tangents. And then I get like a couple sentences in and I let you go on another tangent and then you interrupt me. You're just repeating the same stuff over and over, and it doesn't give me anywhere near evidence for a God.
You've been saying there's no evidence for a God, right?
There
You've been saying
isn't.
it over and over yourself.
And you haven't given evidence.
I don't have to because it's all right in front of you. But what you're saying is, well, that's not evidence. But then I say, well, what's ultimate? And you go, I don't know. Well, then don't tell me it's not evidence because then you're being a clown, right?
It's not evidence.
You don't see the illogic. You keep talking about logic, but you don't see the illogical contradiction in that.
Well, what's the contradiction?
I don't know what's ultimate, but everything doesn't stand in evidence for God. Well, how do you know that? Because what if down the road you know there's a God, and you're like, oh, well, I guess everything.
Well, then explain to me how it's evidence. Explain to me how it's evidence.
Well, because without the non-acceptance of God leads to unintelligibility, and you have no preconditions for rationality. You have no ability to speak forth truth in terms of dependent facts when you utter them forth. They don't mean anything, and even you said it. You go, if I don't know ultimate, I don't know ultimate reality. That means when you speak forth, it doesn't mean anything. Like you're saying, when I speak forth, what I speak forth, you even said we all could be wrong. Well,
sure.
That's the case. If you don't know ultimate reality, everybody is just speaking out of their butt. No one is
It kind of seems like that's what's happening.
Well, I know that it does. With all due respect, it does seem like that's happening because that is what your worldview will only provide. It cannot provide any ultimate intelligibility to what the nature of reality actually is. You're only going to be, like even your thoughts themselves are just a byproduct of a biological machine. Like you don't believe there's any transcendent ultimate metaphysical value to yourself. It's just, your brain is fizzing off molecules and forming thoughts, and and maybe they're true, maybe they're not. Well, they can't be true without ultimate context to interpret them.
What's wrong with that being the case? What's wrong with there not being ultimate purpose or stuff like that? Like why does there have to be?
Why does there have to be intelligibility for facts?
Like ultimate purpose and ultimate stuff and intelligibility, sure.
Well,
how come we can't be in a position where we're just emergent properties of the universe trying to figure stuff out and really not knowing what we're doing? Why can't that be a thing?
Well, if I said blah 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 to you, what's that mean to you?
We've come up with languages to describe the world around us. And they're all made up sounds. They're all made up sounds that we gave meaning to. If we were to give meaning to what you just said, it would have whatever meaning that we ascribe to it.
Right, but in terms of when I spoke for it, like it came out as unintelligible. Like there was, like you don't know what the language would be. It just sounded like, and I didn't have any intention to what I said. I was just almost like just a blathering.
Oh, I know.
Right. Well, that would be the worldview without ultimate context. You're just speaking forth facts without them being able to be interpreted in light of an ultimate context. Like when you follow the chain dependency of the fact down to why anything at all exists, there is no reason.
So why can't that
There's
be
no-
the exist? Why can't that be the thing? Why can't that be it? Why does there have to be this ultimate like context and reason? And there might be ultimate context, but why does it have to be a situation where if we don't understand that, or if we can't understand that, then it all just gets thrown out the window? Why is that an impossibility of we just can't understand the universe that we live in?
Well, because it's just that, well, one, it won't provide any intelligibility to life and the human experience in any kind
So
of
what?
meaningful way. And if that's,
So what?
if that's what you want, Drew. I
If
don't
that's
accept
reality,
not what
I believe what I have reason to believe, and reality
That's
sucks
Well, when you
sometimes.
say, hold on, when you say reality, that's reality. Reality speaks of a whole, and to interpret reality, you'll have to have an ultimate context to know what reality is, because upon ultimate context, it could change your whole. Because that's why you're saying, well, then maybe there is a God in a way with the agnostic part of your atheism. You'll say, well, maybe if there's evidence, I'll believe in a God if you show me. Well, that right there is an admitting, that your whole worldview can change along with the facts and everything in it. That you're just admitting to being in darkness, which is what Jesus said, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. You in life are walking in darkness to what the nature of reality is. On the non-acceptance of God's revelation, you can't interpret reality to be intelligible. And you're like, well, what's wrong with that? Well, it's just that it's a reality that doesn't make sense,
What, so
Like when
okay,
I, say,
I think there's
that's what your conversation about reality will ultimately be. It'll be just something that doesn't make sense. It doesn't have any basis for it.
I think the universe works in a specific way. There is facts and there is ultimate context of how the universe works and how all that works. That can be our ultimate context, is the universe does seem to work in a certain way. We don't understand that. And if we can't understand that, it sucks. If we have no way of understanding that, sucks. If we can't know anything for certain, sucks. That's I'm trying to figure out why why it can't be a situation that we just don't understand reality.
Yeah, I would say that. Well, universe is a dependent fact, because we're talking about, when you say universe, we're talking about all collective dependent facts. And that is interpreted in light of ultimate context. And and you were saying, like, why do we need like intelligibility? Basically, for the human experience to be meaningful, and for there to be meaningful experience in the human experience and stuff. I see my wife's kind of, unfortunately,
Are you being hailed away?
Yeah. Hey, I do appreciate you letting me in here. I know we kind of got a little heated there.
It happens.
Yeah, you've actually been pretty cordial, and I do appreciate you letting me in here. Maybe I can come back in some other time if I see one of these going, and you'd be charitable enough to let me in, if you want to.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're under no obligation, of course, but I do hope you have a good evening, and thanks, man. I appreciate the conversation.
You have a good one. Thank you for also the conversation.
Yeah. All right, you take care.
All right, we'll see you. All right, and with that, it is an almost 2-hour live stream. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. But thank you, everyone, for being here. Shout out to Chris for being only the third person to ever use that Discord thing. I put it in the thing, and nobody ever uses it. So shout out for him for actually doing that. There's a reason why, because I these live streams usually go a little over an hour. Once I hit the hour mark, it's like, all right, it's about time to start thinking about ending it. There's a reason I then set aside, an extra like 45 minutes or 30 or however long we were talking for Chris, because this is good. This is good. Having those voice conversations is good, and I like it. So made that room, and I'm happy for it. But that's all I got for tonight. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for any and all support. Anyone who I'm always appreciative of anyone who stops by my live stream for even a second without immediately scrolling past. Especially people who stick around, engage in chat, hop on the Discord, like whatever. It's appreciated. I'm a random nobody on the internet. Nobody are all too special, so it's just appreciated. Whatever support I can get. So thank you all so much for being here and for all that you do. And thank you, Chris, again, for having that conversation. And maybe I'll see you all around. Have a good rest of your night, day, whenever you're watching this.